So let's talk about the Costa Concordia. The Costa Concordia was a cruise ship that had a critical hull rip and sank at sea on January 13, 2012. The ship had just left port and was doing a sail-by salute of the nearby town of Isola di Giglio. Sail-by salute is when a cruise ship travels closer to the shore of a local town and honks their horn. It's mainly done for tradition and passenger entertainment. Due to multiple problems including communication failures and untrained crew, the ship went too close to shore and hit a patch of rocks. This damaged the hull and led to flooding and mechanical errors. The ship ultimately capsized and there were many casualties. So, who was to blame? The captain for his poor judgment and inability? The crew for their miscommunication and inexperience? Or Carnival Cruise for letting it all happen? The main thing I want to talk about is how the disaster was reported in the media versus what happened. I also want to talk about how social media influenced the event as it was happening and how people responded online. The events surrounding the actual crash are a bit hazy for multiple reasons. The main reason being that the Costa Concordia's black box malfunctioned. A black box is an electronic device that captures the movement of the ship and all of its related data. The loss of it means no full accurate description of what happened can be ascertained. Another problem is that the captain of the Costa Concordia, Francesco Schettino, lied about a large chunk of the events surrounding the disaster. For example, when Schettino was contacted by the Coast Guard to ask him if anything was wrong with the ship, he claimed that the ship was just experiencing a temporary blackout. This was a lie, because at the time the Costa Concordia was experiencing serious issues. The hull was damaged, the ship was taking on water, electricity was failing, and people were beginning to panic. Schettino actually had a history of damaging Carnival cruise ships. 2 years earlier, Schettino was the captain of the Costa Atlantica, which he damaged in the port of Warnemünde. Whether it was from fear, ego, or ignorance is unknown, but Schettino did repeatedly lie about the events of the Costa Concordia. Can't be fully trusted to recall what he did on the ship. The media at the time also had problems being hazy and reporting on the truth. According to the article Alleged Costa Concordia Passenger Video Debunked by Eric Pfeiffer, Pfeiffer talks about how multiple news outlets showed a video of different cruise ship flooding slightly from 3 years prior. CBS's Early Show, CNN, and Sky TV all show the video claiming to be of the Costa Concordia being hit. It was in fact actually just a video of a Carnival Paradise having some mild flooding about 3 years earlier. The false video also made its way into Italian news channels, but was quickly taken down and debunked. Another thing a few media stations did was claim that Schettino had a mistress by the name of Domenica Carmorton. Some news stations alleged that Schettino was distracted by Carmorton, and the Costa Concordia sunk because he was trying to impress her with the sail by salute. While it was revealed later that Carmorton and Schettino were having an affair, it was not proven or fully known at the time, so it shouldn't have been reported. News stations also didn't talk about Schettino's previous accidents as captain and his overall inexperience, which is pretty strange considering how relevant that is to what happened. It feels like they cared less about telling the story and focused more on sensationalizing the information in the background. Social media was a major factor as to how the Costa Concordia was reported and how information spread around quickly. In the blog post, Costa Concordia and Social Media by Navigate Response, they talk about how quickly word spread about the disaster through social media. The article says, the accident became the locus for well over 250,000 social media comments and opinions. Those various social media platforms, when aggregated, provide a comprehensive view story as it ebbed and flowed online. This amount of attention in social media completely left the news and mainstream media behind. Some people use social media to spread information about missing passengers and crew, while other people criticize Schettino and the Costa Company. Throughout the disaster, Costa and Cruises failed to fully address the tragedy and just gave vague statements and sympathies. Costa refused to make statements about the casualties and how the rescue attempts were going. By the 17th, they had stopped posting relevant information about the Costa Concordia altogether. It's interesting to see them completely ignore the accident this soon, since the Costa Concordia was still in the bay for a long amount of time afterwards. The sinking of the Costa Concordia was a horrible, avoidable disaster. Many people were injured and even died over a small tradition. While the story of the disaster is interesting, more so is the story afterwards. The lack of information while the story was being reported led to misinformation and confusion as to what was going on. This wasn't helped by frequent tabloid journalism snippets and unsourced claims about what happened. Because of this, many people already had positions on the story without fully understanding it. On the other hand, social media was being used to warn other people of what was going on in the Costa Concordia and spread the information of missing people. Costa Concordia wasn't exactly the most damaging disaster ever, but it is a great example of how the media handles little information and how social media affects people's perception of an event.